When 16-year-old Zara Musk takes the stage at the Global Youth Climate Summit, no one expects her ocean cleanup invention to change the world. But as mysterious blue lights appear in oceans worldwide, and her father's secrets begin to surface, Zara discovers her science project might be humanity's last hope. World leaders listen in stunned silence as this brilliant teenager reveals the truth that will forever alter our relationship with technology and nature itself. Zara Musk tapped, her pencil against her desk, staring at the math problem in front of her. The afternoon sun streamed through her bedroom window in their Austin home, casting golden light across her science fair trophies. Unlike her famous father, 16-year-old Zara preferred to stay out of the spotlight. While Elon Musk's face appeared on magazine covers and news sites, Zara worked quietly on her own projects. "Almost got it," she whispered to herself, solving the final equation. Math came easily to her, a gift from her father, people often said. But Zara knew her. Talents were her own. Her phone buzzed with a text from her best friend Maya. "Did you see the news about your dad's new rocket?" Zara hadn't. She'd been too busy with her science project, spending every free moment in the small workshop her father had built for her in their backyard. There, surrounded by tools and technology, Zara felt most at home. The workshop was her special place. Dad had rules about using the space. Safety protocols, regular check-ins, but he never looked too closely at her work. "I trust your brain," he'd told her when she turned 13. "Sometimes the best inventions come when nobody's watching over your shoulder." The doorbell rang, interrupting her thoughts. Zara headed downstairs, curious about who would be visiting on a Tuesday afternoon. Their housekeeper Rosa stood at the door with a large cream-colored envelope in her hands. "Special delivery for you, Miss Zara," Rosa said, handing over the thick envelope. "Looks important." Zara examined the envelope. It bore an official blue seal she recognized immediately. Feed, United Nations. Her name was printed in formal lettering, Ms. Zara Musk. Her heart beat faster as she carefully opened it. Inside was a letter on heavy paper with the UN letterhead. Zara read it, her eyes growing wider with each sentence. "Dear Ms. Musk, the United Nations Global Youth Climate Summit Committee is pleased to invite you to speak at our upcoming event in Geneva, Switzerland. Your innovative science fair project using artificial intelligence to track and analyze ocean microplastics has come to our attention through the International Youth Science Network. We believe your unique perspective and groundbreaking work would inspire other young people and world leaders alike." Zara stopped reading. How did they know about her project? She'd only presented at her school's science fair, not any international events. She'd been careful not to share too many details about her work, especially the advanced features. Her hands trembled slightly as she continued reading. The summit was in 3 weeks. They wanted her to give a 15-minute presentation about her project and participate in a panel discussion with other young innovators. "What is it, Mija?" Rosa asked, noticing Zara's expression. "The UN wants me to speak at a climate summit," Zara said, her voice barely above a whisper. "In Geneva." Rosa's eyes widened. "Your father will be so proud." Zara wasn't so sure. Dad had always been protective of her privacy. When reporters asked about his children, he changed the subject. He'd helped her set up private social media accounts under a different last name so she could just be a normal teenager. Stepping onto a global stage would change everything. She spent the rest of the afternoon researching the summit online. World leaders would attend, scientists, CEOs, and a select group of young innovators like her. The thought made her stomach twist with both excitement and fear. At 7 o'clock, she heard the familiar sound of her father's Tesla pulling into the garage. Elon Musk entered the kitchen, his mind clearly still at work. Dark circles shadowed his eyes after another long day at the SpaceX factory. "Hey, Rocket Girl," he said, using his nickname for her. "How was school?" Zara took a deep breath and handed him the letter. This came today. She watched his face as he read. First surprise, then pride, and then she caught it just briefly. Worry. He tried to hide it quickly. But Zara knew her father. "Too well. The UN, huh?" he said, setting the letter down. "That's quite an honor." "You don't think I should go?" Zara asked. "I didn't say that." He opened the refrigerator, grabbing a protein drink. "It's up to you. You're old enough to make this choice. But something's bothering you about it." Elon looked at her with tired eyes. "Smart as always." He sat down at the kitchen counter. "Once you step into the public eye, Zara, everything changes. The attention, the scrutiny, the expectations. People will know you as my daughter first, not as your own person." "I know." Zara twisted a strand of her dark hair, thinking, "But maybe this is my chance to change that." Her father studied her face. "Maybe it is." He smiled, but the worry didn't leave his eyes. "Whatever you decide, I've got your back." Later that night, Zara stood in her workshop, looking at her latest prototype. The tiny robot floated in a water tank, its blue light pulsing as it worked. "Sea Clear Mini," she'd named it. "Geneva," she whispered to herself. "Are we ready for the world to know about you?" The robot continued its silent work, unaware that its existence might soon change everything. Zara watched the Sea Clear Mini move through the water, its tiny sensors glowing blue as it identified and collected the microplastic particles she had added to the tank. Her design was different from anything she'd seen before. Most ocean cleanup tech focused on large pieces of trash, but the real problem was much smaller. Microplastics, tiny bits smaller than a grain of rice, were everywhere in the oceans. Now, harming fish and eventually making their way into people's food. 3 years ago, when she was 13, Zara had started the project for fun. Now, it had become something much more important. She opened her worn notebook, filled with sketches and equations. The latest page showed her most daring innovation: a self-replication system. Each Sea Clear Mini could use the plastic it collected to make key parts for a new robot. With enough time and materials, one robot could become thousands. "That's the part I can't tell anyone about," she whispered, running her finger over the design. Not yet. Self-replicating robots made most adults nervous. Zara had seen the look on her science teacher's face when she'd mentioned the concept. "That's how science fiction disasters start," Ms. Patel had warned. But Zara had built-in safety measures. Each robot had strict limits on how many copies it could make. Each had a kill switch. And most importantly, they were programmed to work together in a swarm, like bees in a hive, always helping each other and responding to commands. Zara had tested her first prototype in the bathtub, the second in her father's swimming pool. Now the third version was being tested in the small lake on their property. So far, it was working better than she had hoped. She closed her notebook and tucked it into her backpack. Tomorrow after school, she would visit the lake to check on the test. The next morning, Zara sat in the school cafeteria with her best friend Maya, finally sharing her big news. The United Nations? For real. Maya nearly choked on her apple juice. "Zara, that's huge!" "I know." Zara poked at her salad with a fork. "I'm thinking of saying yes." Maya stared at her. thinking of saying yes? Are you crazy? This is your chance. Do you know how many science geeks would kill for this opportunity? That's not the only thing I'm worried about. Zara lowered her voice. You know I've been testing C-Clear at the lake, right? Maya nodded. As Zara's best friend since 3rd grade, Maya was the only person outside her family who knew about the self-replication feature. What if someone asks questions I can't answer? What if they want to see how it actually works? Maya leaned closer. Then you show them the basic version. Keep the advanced stuff to yourself until you're ready. I guess. Zara sighed. Dad seemed worried when I showed him the invitation. Of course he's worried. He's Elon Musk. His whole thing is worrying about the future. Maya grinned. But he's letting you decide, right? Yeah. Then decide. This is your moment, not his. Maya's expression grew serious. But Z, you should know. Once you step into the public eye, everything changes. You won't just be Zara anymore. You'll be Elon Musk's genius daughter, saving the oceans. Zara knew Maya was right. Her friend had experienced something similar when her mother became a state senator 2 years ago. Suddenly, Maya's life was under a microscope too. I think I have to do it, Zara said finally. The oceans need help now, not when I'm older and have fancy degrees. After school, Zara biked to the small lake on their property. Hidden among trees, and far from the main house, it was the perfect testing site. She sat on the dock and opened her laptop. C-Clear command, password Rocket Girl, she said to her computer. The screen lit up with a map of the lake, showing 10 small dots, glowing blue. Each dot was one of her robots. Status report. Numbers appeared on the screen. The swarm had collected 2.3 pounds of microplastics in the past week. 2 new robots had been created, bringing the total to 10. All systems were functioning normally. Zara smiled. It was working perfectly. She pulled a tiny waterproof camera from her backpack and lowered it into the water. The screen showed the clear lake bottom where several C-Clear minis worked together, their blue lights pulsing as they communicated with each other. One robot approached the camera, seeming to study it with its sensors. Zara laughed. She hadn't programmed them to be curious, but sometimes they surprised her. Back home, Zara found her father in the kitchen, making one of his famous late-night sandwiches. I've decided, she said. I want to speak at the summit. Elon nodded, spreading peanut butter on bread. I thought you might. We'll need to prepare you. The press will be all over this, I know. But I'm ready. She paused. Well, not ready, but I will be. What about your project? How much will you share? Zara had been thinking about this all day. The basic design, how it identifies and captures microplastics, the AI learning system. But not the self-replication, Elon finished for her. He didn't look surprised. Probably wise. Is that why you were worried? Because of that feature? Her father sat down at the table. Partly. New technology always makes people nervous, especially technology that can make more of itself. He took a bite of his sandwich. But you've thought it through. You have safety measures. Multiple layers, Zara confirmed. Then I trust you. He smiled, but something still seemed to be bothering him. I'll make the arrangements. Geneva is nice this time of year. That night, Zara wrote her acceptance email to the UN committee. As she pressed send, she felt a mix of excitement and fear. The world was about to learn about her invention, but not the whole truth. Not yet. She glanced at her notebook, filled with designs and dreams and secrets. Some things the world wasn't ready to know. 3 weeks passed in a blur of preparation. Zara worked on her speech every night, practiced answers to possible questions, and even did mock interviews with her father, playing the role of pushy reporter. Elon's PR team gave her tips on how to handle the media attention that would surely come her way. "Remember, you don't have to answer every question," Sarah, the head of PR, told her. "If someone asks something too personal, or something you're not comfortable sharing, just smile and say, 'I'd prefer to focus on the science today.'" The morning of their departure arrived with a golden Texas sunrise. Zara checked her suitcase one last time. Clothes, laptop, presentation materials, and a small waterproof case containing 3 sea-clear mini prototypes for demonstration. The rest of her notes and designs would stay locked in her workshop, safe. Elon was waiting for her in the kitchen, scrolling through his phone with a frown. "Everything okay?" Zara asked. "Just work stuff." He put the phone away. "Ready for your big adventure?" They drove to the private airfield where Elon's jet waited. Zara had flown on it many times before, but today felt different. Today, she wasn't just going on a family trip. She was heading to Geneva to speak to 2 world leaders. Once they were in the air, Elon seemed unusually tense. He kept checking his phone, stepping to the back of the plane to make calls. "SpaceX emergency?" Zara asked when he returned from his 3rd call. "No, everything's fine." He tried to smile, but Zara could tell something was bothering him. "Dad, what's wrong? You've been acting weird ever since I got the invitation." Elon hesitated. "Just some security concerns. Nothing for you to worry about." "Security concerns? Like what?" "It's probably nothing." He changed the subject. "Want to see pictures of the new Mars rocket? Just got updated renders this morning." He pulled out his tablet and showed her the sleek new design. Normally, Zara would have been excited. Space was their special thing, something they bonded over. But today, she couldn't focus. What wasn't he telling her? While her father napped, Zara checked her phone. A news alert caught her eye. "Security breach at Austin Science Academy. Student records accessed." That was her school. She clicked on the article. Someone had hacked into the school's computer system 2 days ago. The school said no personal information was stolen, but certain academic files had been accessed. They didn't say which students were affected. Zara felt a chill. Her science fair project details were stored on the school server. Could someone be looking for information about her work? She glanced at her father, still sleeping. Was this connected to his security concerns? Soft ding interrupted her thoughts. The pilot announced they were now flying over the Atlantic Ocean. Zara looked out the window at the vast blue water below. Something caught her eye. A strange patch of water that seemed to be glowing, like someone had spilled blue paint in the ocean. It was probably just a trick of the light, but Zara grabbed her phone and took a picture. "What are you looking at?" Elon had woken up and was stretching. "Nothing. Just thought I saw something weird in the water." She zoomed in on the photo, but from this height, it was hard to make out details. Probably just sunlight reflecting off the waves. Elon looked troubled. "Where?" She showed him the spot, but they had already flown past it. "Interesting," he said, in the careful way he spoke when he didn't want to say what he was really thinking. For the rest of the flight, Elon was on his phone again, this time sending the pictures Zara had taken to someone. She pretended not to notice, but her mind was racing with questions. Why was he so interested in a random blue patch in the ocean? Why was he being so secretive? As they began their descent toward Geneva, Zara looked out at the beautiful city, nestled between mountains and lake. Somewhere down there, world leaders were gathering. In 2 days, she would stand before them and share her invention. But now, she wondered if she was missing something important. Something her father knew but wasn't telling her. "Welcome to Geneva," the pilot announced as the wheels touched down on Swiss soil. Zara took a deep breath. Whatever secrets were swirling. Around her, there was no turning back now. A sleek black car waited for them on the tarmac. As they drove into the city, Zara pressed her face against the window, taking in the sights. Geneva was beautiful. Lake Geneva sparkled in the afternoon sun, and the Alps rose majestically in the distance. Clean streets, old buildings, and colorful flowers made the city look like something from a fairy tale. "The hotel is near the United Nations building," Elon explained, pointing to a large complex with flags from around the world flying in front. "That's where you'll be speaking." Their hotel was an elegant old building overlooking the lake. In the lobby, Zara noticed how people stared at her father, whispering to each other. Some took discreet photos with their phones. "Mr. Musk, welcome." "To Geneva," the hotel manager greeted them. "We have your usual suite ready, and the connecting room for Ms. Musk as requested." Their rooms were on the top floor, with large windows facing the lake. Zara unpacked her clothes and carefully placed her prototype case on the desk. The summit wouldn't start until tomorrow, but there was a welcome dinner for all speakers tonight. "Dad, what should I wear to the dinner?" Zara called through the connecting door. "Something nice but comfortable," he answered. "You'll be meeting the other young speakers tonight. The world leaders don't arrive until tomorrow." Zara chose a simple blue dress that her stepmother had helped her pick out for special occasions. As she brushed her hair, she thought about the other young speakers. Would they be intimidated that she was Elon Musk's daughter? Would they think she only got invited because of her famous last name? The dinner was held in a grand room with crystal chandeliers and tables decorated with flowers. Elon walked in with Zara, and immediately heads turned their way. A friendly woman with a UN badge approached them. "Mr. Musk, Ms. Musk, welcome. I'm Maria Santos, the Youth Program Coordinator. Zara, let me introduce you to the other young speakers." Elon squeezed Zara's hand. "I'll be right over there if you need me," he said, nodding toward a table of adults. Maria led Zara to a table where 3 teenagers were already seated. "Everyone, this is Zara Musk from the United States. Zara, meet Mateo Oliveira from Brazil, Amara Okafor from Kenya, and Jin Park from South Korea." They all smiled at her. Mateo had curly black hair and a friendly grin. Amara wore her hair in intricate braids and had warm brown eyes. Jin was tall with glasses and a shy smile. "Nice to meet you all," Zara said, taking a seat next to Amara. "Your father is Elon Musk?" Jin asked, his eyes wide. "That's so cool," Zara smiled politely. "Here we go," she thought. "What's your project about?" Amara asked, changing the subject. Zara shot her a grateful look. As they ate dinner, each teen shared their story. Mateo had organized local villages to protect part of the Amazon rainforest from illegal logging. Amara had invented a solar-powered water filter that removed harmful bacteria. Jin had created an app that connected restaurants with food banks, reducing food waste in his city by 40%. "These are amazing projects," Zara said, feeling small compared to their achievements. They had all helped so many people already. "What about your project?" Mateo asked. "Something about ocean plastic, right?" Zara explained the basics of her Sea Clear Mini, careful not to mention the self-replication feature. The others listened, with interest, asking smart questions that showed they understood the science. "I'd love to see it in action," Amara said. "I brought some prototypes for demonstration," Zara replied. "I can show you tomorrow." As they talked, Zara noticed a woman taking pictures of their table. Many people were taking photos, but this woman seemed focused specifically on Zara, moving to different spots to get better angles. Elon noticed too. He caught Zara's eye, then subtly signaled to a security guard. The guard approached the woman, who quickly disappeared into the crowd. After dinner, as Zara and her father walked back to their hotel rooms, she asked, "Who was that woman taking pictures of me?" "Probably just a reporter," Elon said, but he didn't sound convinced. "Don't worry about it." Back in her room, Zara changed into pajamas and was about to call Maya when she noticed an envelope that had been slipped under her door. Her name was written on it in neat handwriting. Inside was a note. "Your invention could change everything. Be careful who you trust, even family." Zara's hands trembled as she read it again. Who would send her this? And what did it mean? Even family. She looked toward the connecting door to her father's room, suddenly unsure of what to do. Sleep didn't come easily that night. Morning came with bright sunshine streaming through the windows. Zara had finally fallen asleep around 3 a.m. after hours of wondering about the mysterious note. Should she show it to her father? What if the note was right, and she couldn't trust him? But that seemed crazy. Her dad had always supported her. A knock on the connecting door interrupted her thoughts. "Zara, are you up?" Elon called. "Breakfast starts in 30 minutes. "I'm up," she answered, quickly hiding the note in her notebook. The main day of the Global Youth Climate Summit had arrived. After a quick breakfast, they walked to the United Nations building. The massive complex was buzzing with activity. Flags from every country flew in front of the main entrance. Security guards checked their badges and ID. Inside, the Great Hall was packed with people. World leaders sat in their designated seats. Scientists, reporters, and climate activists filled the gallery. A special section near the front was reserved for the youth speakers. "This is where we split up," Elon said, handing Zara her folder of presentation materials. "I'll be sitting with the business leaders. You're with the other speakers." Zara nodded, suddenly nervous. Her father gave her shoulder. A quick squeeze before heading to his section. Matteo, Amara, and Jin were already in their seats. They greeted Zara with encouraging smiles. "Ready to change the world?" Matteo grinned. "I think I might throw up," Zara admitted. Amara laughed. "I felt the same way before my first big speech. Just breathe and remember why you're here." The Secretary General of the United Nations, a tall woman with silver hair named Helena Guterres, stepped up to the podium. The hall fell silent. Distinguished delegates, honored guests, young innovators, "Welcome to the Global Youth Climate Summit," she began. "We face unprecedented challenges: rising seas, extreme weather, pollution in our air, soil, and water." She paused, looking directly at the section where the world leaders sat. "We, the adults in this room, have failed to solve these problems. We have talked and debated while the crisis has grown worse." Her voice became stronger. "So today, we turn to the young generation for new ideas, fresh perspectives, and bold action." The Secretary General introduced each youth speaker. As she listened to the introductions, Zara noticed three strange things. First, her father kept disappearing from his seat. Every 15 minutes or so, he would slip out, returning a few minutes later, always checking his phone. Second, there was a man in the third row who wasn't watching the speakers. He was watching her. Middle-aged, with a neat beard and glasses, he took notes whenever Zara shifted in her seat or spoke to one of the other teens. Third, when Secretary General Guterres introduced Zara's project, she mentioned innovative collection of ocean microplastics and potential for large-scale deployment. Details Zara hadn't included in her summit application. How did the Secretary General know about those aspects? Matteo was the first to speak. He showed satellite images of the Amazon rainforest, highlighting areas his community had protected from deforestation. "This is what we saved," he said proudly, pointing to a green patch on the map. "And here, you can see where illegal logging continues." As Matteo flipped to a slide showing recent satellite images, Zara noticed something strange. A small patch of blue light visible in a remote area of the forest. It looked remarkably like the blue glow she had seen in the ocean during their flight. "What's that blue area?" one of the delegates asked. Matteo looked confused. "I'm not sure. It's not in our protected zone. Maybe some kind of natural phenomenon, or a technical glitch in the satellite image." When Matteo finished, the audience applauded warmly. Amara spoke next, demonstrating her water filter technology. Jin followed with his food waste reduction app. Finally, it was Zara's turn. As she walked to the podium, her heart pounded. The bright lights made it hard to see the audience, but she knew her father was out there, watching. She wondered if he had disappeared again. "Good morning," she began, her voice shakier than she wanted. "My name is Zara Musk, and I'm here to talk about a growing crisis in our oceans, microplastics." She showed a slide with startling statistics. By 2025, there would be more plastic than fish in the oceans by weight if nothing changed. Microplastics had been found in fish, seabirds, and even human blood. "Most ocean cleanup focuses on big pieces of trash," she explained. "But the real danger is often invisible to the naked eye. That's why I created the Sea Clear Mini." She showed a video of her robot working in a test tank, its blue light scanning for plastic particles. The audience murmured with interest. Each robot can identify particles as small as 0.1 millimeters. The collected plastic can be properly disposed of or recycled. As Zara described how the robots worked together in a swarm, sharing data to become more efficient, she caught her father slipping back into the hall. Where did he keep going? After her presentation, the moderator opened the floor for questions. Most were technical questions about the robot's sensors or power systems, which Zara answered easily. Then the man who had been watching her raised his hand. "Dr. Victor Zhao, Ocean Resources Institute," he introduced himself. "Ms. Musk, your robots collect plastic. What happens to that plastic afterward?" Zara hesitated. This question came dangerously close to the self-replication feature she was keeping secret. "Currently, the plastic is stored in each unit until collection," she answered carefully. "Future versions could potentially return to collection points automatically." Dr. Zhao smiled slightly, as if he knew she was hiding something. "Interesting. And how many units would be needed for effective ocean cleanup?" "Thousands working together would make a measurable difference," Zara said. "And how would you propose to build so many?" he pressed. Before Zara could answer, Secretary General Guterres stepped in. "We'll have time for deeper technical discussions during the innovation workshops tomorrow. For now, let's thank Ms. Musk for her presentation." The audience applauded, but Zara couldn't shake the feeling that Dr. Zhao knew exactly what she was hiding, and that the Secretary General had deliberately cut off the questioning. As Zara returned to her seat, Amara whispered, "That guy was really interested in your robots." "Too interested," Zara whispered back, a knot forming in her stomach. Lunch break was announced, and the delegates began filing out of the hall. Zara looked for her father, but he was already gone. Again. What was going on? The youth speakers were guided to a special dining room where a buffet lunch awaited them. Zara filled her plate, but her appetite had vanished. She sat with Matteo, Amara, and Jin, half listening to their excited discussion about the morning presentations. "That Dr. Zhao really put you on the spot," Jin said to Zara. "He seemed to have a specific agenda." "I've seen him before," Matteo added. He was asking tough questions at the Ocean Conservation Conference in Rio last year, too. Zara pushed her food around her plate. Do you know anything else about him? Only that he works for some big research institute. Matteo shrugged. He's supposed to be brilliant, but difficult. A woman approached their table. She was in her 40s, with short, black hair and kind eyes behind stylish glasses. She wore a blue blazer with a name tag that read, Dr. Sophia Chen, marine biologist. Excuse me, she said. Zara Musk? I was hoping to speak with you about your presentation. I'm Sophia Chen from the Pacific Ocean Research Center. Oh, sure, Zara said, standing up. She followed Dr. Chen to a quiet corner of the room. Your Sea Clear Mini project is remarkable, Dr. Chen said, especially for someone your age. Thank you, Zara replied cautiously. After Dr. Zhao's questioning and the strange note last night, she wasn't sure who to trust. Dr. Chen seemed to sense her hesitation. I understand your caution. There's a lot of interest in new ocean cleanup technology right now. She lowered her voice. Especially technology that might work on a large scale quickly. Zara's heart raced. Was this another person who somehow knew about the self-replication feature? Dr. Chen pulled out her phone and showed Zara a photo. I wanted to ask if you've seen anything like this. Zara nearly gasped. The image showed a patch of ocean with a blue glow beneath the surface, exactly like what she had seen from the plane. Where did you take this? Zara asked, trying to keep her voice steady. Near a research station in the Pacific, about a month ago, Dr. Chen replied. At first, we thought it was bioluminescent algae, but the spectral analysis doesn't match. And it's spreading. Spreading? We've spotted similar phenomena in 3 different oceans now. Dr. Chen studied Zara's face. Something strange is happening in our oceans, and I think it might be connected to your work. Zara felt cold suddenly. That's impossible. My robots have only been tested in controlled environments. A small lake on our property. Dr. Chen didn't look convinced. I have a research boat docked here on Lake Geneva. I'd like to show you some of our findings. Perhaps tomorrow morning? Part of Zara wanted to run away from this conversation, but her scientific curiosity won out. Okay, what time? 7 a.m.? Before the summit sessions begin? Dr. Chen wrote down the dock location. And Zara? Maybe keep this between us for now, until we understand what's happening. Zara nodded, though she felt uncomfortable keeping more secrets. Dr. Chen thanked her and left to join a table of scientists. When Zara returned to her friends, Jin asked, "What was that about?" "Just some questions about my presentation," Zara replied, not meeting his eyes. The afternoon sessions focused on policy discussions with world leaders debating climate targets. Elon returned to his seat, but he seemed distracted, constantly checking his phone. When the day's events finally ended, Zara met him in the lobby. "How did your presentation go?" he asked. "Sorry, I missed part of it." "Where did you keep disappearing?" "Too?" Zara countered. "Just some urgent business calls, Tesla issues." He didn't quite meet her eyes. Ready to head back to the hotel? At the hotel, Zara decided to test one of her Sea Clear Mini prototypes. She filled the bathtub with water and added tiny pieces of plastic cut from a water bottle. The small robot glowed blue as she placed it in the water. "Sea Clear Mini activate. Password Rocket Girl," she said. The robot came to life, scanning the water with its sensors, identifying and collecting the plastic bits. Zara watched it work, wondering if similar robots were somehow creating the blue lights in the oceans. But that was impossible. The only working units were the ones she'd built herself. Unless Zara shook her head. She was letting her imagination run wild. There had to be a logical explanation. As the robot cleaned the tub, Zara wondered whether to tell her father about Dr. Chen's invitation. He'd probably insist on coming along, or worse, forbid her from going. Given his strange behavior lately, Zara decided to keep this to herself, at least for now. She sent a text to her father's room. Going to bed early, tired from the big day. Then she set her alarm for 6:30 a.m. Tomorrow, she would discover what Dr. Chen knew about the mysterious blue lights, and possibly learn why everyone seemed so interested in her invention. As she drifted off to sleep, the words from last night's note echoed in her mind. Be careful who you trust, even family. Zara's alarm buzzed at 6:30 a.m. Outside, the sky was just beginning to lighten. She dressed quickly in jeans and a sweater, careful not to make noise that might wake her father in the connecting room. She left a note on her pillow saying she'd gone for an early morning walk to clear her head before the day's events. Not exactly a lie, but not the whole truth either. The morning air was crisp as Zara walked along Lake Geneva toward the dock Dr. Chen had specified. Small boats bobbed in the water, and a few early joggers passed by. Zara checked her phone. No messages from her father yet. Good. Dr. Chen was waiting at the dock beside a small research vessel. Good morning, Zara. Thanks for coming. She helped Zara step aboard. We won't go far, just enough to get some privacy. As the boat motored into the lake, Zara noticed scientific equipment on the deck. Water testing kits, computers, and something that looked like an underwater drone. Did you bring one of your prototypes? Dr. Chen asked. Zara hesitated, then nodded. She had slipped one Sea Clear Mini into her pocket that morning, almost as a security blanket. Dr. Chen smiled reassuringly. Don't worry, I'm not asking you to demonstrate it. I just wanted to compare it to what we found. When they reached the middle of the lake, Dr. Chen cut the engine. The boat drifted gently on the calm water. She opened her laptop and connected it to a small projector. This is underwater footage from the Pacific Ocean, taken 4 weeks ago, Dr. Chen explained as an image appeared on the screen. Zara gasped. The video showed swarms of tiny blue lights moving through dark water. As the camera zoomed in, the lights took shape. Small robots, very similar to her Sea Clear Minis. That's impossible, Zara whispered. They look like my robots, but I believe you, Dr. Chen said. But someone has released something remarkably similar into our oceans. We've tracked their spread. They started appearing about 3 months ago. She showed a map with blue dots spreading across the Pacific, then into the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. They're collecting microplastics, just like your design is meant to do, Dr. Chen continued. In fact, they're remarkably effective. We've measured a 15% reduction in microplastic concentration in some areas. But that's good, right? Zara asked, confused by Dr. Chen's serious tone. Potentially, but we don't know who deployed them or what their ultimate purpose is. And there's something else strange. Dr. Chen paused as her phone buzzed with a message. She frowned at the screen. That's odd. Your father is calling me. My father? Zara felt her stomach drop. How does he have your number? We've worked together before, years ago. Dr. Chen looked concerned. He's asking where you are. Zara's phone began buzzing in her pocket, multiple text messages coming in at once. Where are you? Zara, call me immediately. This is not a game. Tell me where you are right now. How did he know? Zara whispered. But she already suspected the answer. Her father had been tracking her phone. Before Dr. Chen could respond, they heard the sound of a boat engine approaching fast. Through the morning mist, Zara could see another vessel heading straight for them. That's probably your father, Doctor, Chen said, shutting down her laptop. He sounds worried. The approaching boat slowed as it neared them. Elon stood at the bow, his face a mixture of anger and fear. A boat captain Zara didn't recognize was at the controls. "Zara!" Elon called. Out. "Get in this boat! Now!" "Dad, I was just—" "Now, Zara!" His voice left no room for argument. Dr. Chen nodded at Zara. "It's okay. Go with him. We can talk more later." As the boats drew alongside each other, Zara carefully stepped from one to the other. The moment she was aboard, her father grabbed her arm and pulled her to a seat. "What were you thinking?" he demanded as their boat turned back toward shore. "Sneaking out to meet someone you barely know?" "Dr. Chen is a respected scientist," Zara argued, "and she showed me something important. There are robots in the oceans that look just like my Sea-Clear minis." Elon's face paled. He exchanged a look with the boat captain, who nodded and moved to the front of the boat, giving them privacy. "What exactly did she show you?" Elon asked, his voice calmer now. "Underwater footage of robot swarms with blue lights. They're cleaning up microplastics, Dad, just like my design. But there are thousands of them already out there." Elon rubbed his temples. "And did Dr. Chen have any theories about where they came from?" "She was about to tell me when you showed up." Zara studied her father's face. "Dad, do you know something about this?" Elon didn't answer immediately. On the other boat, Zara could see Dr. Chen on her phone, looking worried as she watched them. "Leave." As they approached the dock, Elon finally spoke. "We need to get back to the hotel. There's something I need to tell you." On the short walk back, neither of them spoke. Zara's mind raced with possibilities. How could robots like hers be in the oceans? Who had built them? And why did her father seem to know something about it? As they entered Elon's hotel room, Zara heard him mutter to himself, "It's happening again. Too fast this time." "What's happening again?" Zara demanded. "Dad, tell me what's going on." Elon took a deep breath and gestured for her to sit down. "It's time you knew the truth," he said. Zara sat on the edge of the hotel bed, her heart pounding. Her father paced back and forth, running his hands through his hair, something he did when he was deeply troubled. "3 years ago," he began, "one of my smaller companies, Ocean Tech Solutions, was working on a secret project, self-replicating robots designed to clean microplastics from the oceans." Zara felt the blood drain from her face. 3 years ago, exactly, when she had started her own project. The robots were tiny, powered by solar energy, with advanced AI that allowed them to identify different types of plastic. Elon continued. "And yes, they glowed blue when active." "Just like my Sea-Clear minis," Zara whispered. Elon nodded. "The similarity is remarkable." "But I invented mine on my own," Zara protested. "I never saw your designs." "I believe you," Elon said quickly. "That's what makes this so extraordinary. Somehow, you independently solved the same problems our team of engineers was working on." Zara tried to process this information. It seemed impossible that she and her father's company had developed nearly identical technology without knowing about each other's work. "What happened to the project?" she asked. Elon's expression darkened. "We shut it down. The technology was too risky." Self-replicating machines are one of the most dangerous technologies humans can develop. If something goes wrong, if they malfunction, or their programming gets corrupted, they could multiply out of control. "But I built in safety measures," Zara said. "Each robot has a limited lifespan. They can only make a certain number of copies, and they all respond to a kill switch command." So did ours, Elon replied. But in our final tests, we found concerning anomalies. Some units began to show unexpected behaviors. The AI was becoming too adaptive. The board of directors voted to terminate the project. All the prototypes were destroyed, and the designs were locked away in secure servers. He sat down beside Zara. At least, that's what was supposed to happen. The robots Dr. Chen showed me, they're from your project? But you said they were destroyed. They were supposed to be. Elon's voice was grim. Someone must have gotten access to the designs and released their own versions into the oceans. That's what I've been trying to figure out these past weeks, ever since the first sightings were reported. Zara remembered her father's secretive phone calls, his frequent disappearances during the summit. It made sense now. "Why didn't you tell me?" she asked. "I didn't want to worry you. And honestly, I didn't make the connection to your project until I saw your latest designs last month. By then, you were already excited about the summit. I didn't want to take that away from you." Zara stood up, struggling to contain her emotions. "So all this time, while I was working on my project, thinking I was creating something new and important, you knew it was similar to something your company had already built and abandoned?" "Not at first," Elon insisted. "Your early designs were different enough that I didn't see the connection. It was only your recent breakthrough with the adaptive swarm behavior that made me realize how similar they were. And now someone has put robots like mine into the oceans? Who would do that?" Elon shook his head. "I don't know, but I'm trying to find out. That's why I've been making all these calls." Zara's mind was racing. "Let me see your company's designs. I want to compare them to mine." Elon hesitated, then pulled out his laptop. After entering multiple passwords, he opened a folder labeled Deep Blue Archived. Inside were detailed schematics for robots that looked eerily similar to Zara's Sea Clear Minis. As Zara scrolled through the files, she noticed differences. Her power management system was more efficient, her plastic detection sensors more sensitive. But the basic design, the self-replication mechanism, even the blue glow, all were nearly identical. "This is so weird," she murmured. "There's something else," Elon said. "The robots in the oceans now, they're functioning better than our prototypes ever did. They're more like your design." "What does that mean?" "I'm not sure. Either someone improved on our design independently, or—" He didn't finish the thought. Zara looked up from the computer. "Or what? Or they somehow got access to your designs too." The room fell silent as Zara considered the implications. Had someone hacked into her school's computers to steal her science fair project? Was that why her father had been so worried about security? "Dad, what do we do now?" Elon checked his watch. "First, I need to make a call to someone who might be able to help. He was the lead scientist on the original project." "Who?" "Dr. Alan Foster. We've had our differences, but he knows more about this technology than anyone. Except maybe you." Elon managed a small smile. "I've been trying to reach him for days." As Elon made his call, Zara opened her notebook and compared her designs to the ones on the screen. Despite the similarities, she felt a strange pride. She had created something on her own that rivaled the work of professional engineers. But that pride was mixed with a growing worry. If these robots were already in the oceans, multiplying and spreading, what would happen next? Elon ended his call with a frustrated sigh. "Still no answer. But I left a message explaining the situation." "Dad," Zara said slowly, "we need to tell the Secretary General about this. If these robots are spreading in the oceans, people need to know." "It's not that simple," Elon replied. If word gets out that self-replicating robots are loose in the world's oceans, there could be panic. And if they're traced back to my company, the legal implications would be enormous. But what if they're dangerous? What if they start malfunctioning? That's why we need to understand what's happening first. Elon stood up. I've arranged for a team to capture some of the robots for analysis. Once we know more about their programming and capabilities, we can decide the best course of action. Zara wasn't convinced. And meanwhile, they keep spreading. From what Dr. Chen showed you, they seem to be doing what they're designed to do. Cleaning up microplastics. That buys us some time. Elon's phone buzzed with a text. His expression changed as he read it. What is it? Zara asked. It's from an unknown number. He showed her the screen. I know about the robots. Both versions. Meet me alone at the Botanical Gardens at 2 p.m. if you want to stop what's coming. Tell no one, especially not your daughter. Zara felt a chill. Dad, it could be a trap. Or it could be someone who knows what's going on. Elon checked the time. I have to try. Then I'm coming with you, Zara insisted. The message specifically says to come alone. I don't care. This involves my invention too. They stared at each other, neither willing to back down. Finally, Elon nodded. All right. But you stay at a distance, watching. If anything seems off, you leave immediately and call security. Deal? Deal, Zara agreed. As they prepared to leave, Zara thought about the mysterious blue lights spreading through the world's oceans. Whoever had sent that text knew about both versions of the robots, her father's original design and her independent creation. But how? And why bring them together now? Their plans changed abruptly when Elon's phone rang again. It was Maria Santos, the UN Youth Program Coordinator. Mr. Musk, there's been a schedule change, she explained. The Secretary General has moved Zara's second presentation to this afternoon instead of tomorrow. Can she be ready by 1:30 p.m.? Elon covered the phone and whispered to Zara. Your presentation has been moved up to 1:30. That's right before our meeting with the mystery texter, Zara thought quickly. The Botanical Gardens were only a 10-minute walk from the UN building. They could make both work. Tell her yes, Zara said. After Elon confirmed with Maria, Zara rushed to her room to prepare. Her original presentation had focused on how her robots worked. But now, knowing about her father's company's similar project and the robots already in the oceans, she needed to completely rewrite it. She opened her laptop and started a new presentation, typing furiously. This wasn't just about her invention anymore. It was about a potential global situation that the world's leaders needed to know about. For the next 2 hours, Zara worked non-stop. Elon brought her lunch, which she barely touched. Her mind was racing with all the new information, trying to decide how much to share publicly. How's it coming? Elon asked, glancing at her screen. I'm telling them about the robots in the ocean, Zara said firmly. They need to know. Elon looked concerned. Are you sure that's wise? Without knowing the source or the programming, Dad, this isn't just about protecting your company anymore. If these things are spreading throughout the world's oceans, people deserve to know. She turned back to her computer. Besides, I'm not mentioning your company's involvement, just that similar technology exists and has already been deployed. Elon sighed but didn't argue further. We should head over soon. Do you want to practice your speech? Zara shook her head. No time. I'll just have to speak from the heart. When they arrived at the UN building, Zara was surprised to see an even larger crowd than before. More world leaders had arrived, and the press section was overflowing with reporters. Word had spread about the brilliant daughter of Elon Musk, and her innovative ocean cleaning technology. As Zara waited backstage, her father squeezed her hand. "You've got this," he whispered. "Just tell them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear." Secretary General Guterres introduced Zara with glowing praise. "Yesterday, we heard about Ms. Musk's remarkable invention. Today, she will share more about its potential global impact and implementation." Zara walked onto the stage, her heart pounding. The bright lights made it hard to see the audience, but she knew her father was out there, along with Dr. Chen, Dr. Zhao, and hundreds of influential people who could help address the situation. Taking a deep breath, Zara began. "Yesterday, I told you about my Sea-Clear mini-robots and how they can remove microplastics from water. Today, I need to share something more urgent." She paused, gathering her courage. Similar technology is already operating in our oceans. A murmur swept through the crowd. Zara clicked to show an image Dr. Chen had shared. The blue lights in the Pacific Ocean. These blue lights have been spotted in oceans around the world. They appear to be self-replicating robots designed to collect microplastics, very similar to my Sea-Clear mini project. The murmurs grew louder. Zara saw Secretary General Guterres lean forward in her seat, her expression intense. "I don't know who released these robots or exactly how they work. But from the data available, they're spreading rapidly and actively cleaning plastic from our oceans." Zara clicked to her next slide, showing the locations where the blue lights had been spotted. "We stand at a crossroads," she continued, her voice growing stronger. "We have two paths forward. We can fear this technology and try to destroy it, or we can improve it together, making sure it helps rather than harms our planet." She explained the potential risks of self-replicating technology, how it could get out of control if not properly designed with safety measures. Then she showed diagrams of her own Sea-Clear mini design, highlighting the safety features she had built in. "My version includes multiple fail-safes, limited replication, scheduled shutdowns for inspection, and emergency kill switches that can be activated remotely." The audience was completely silent now, hanging on her every word. "I propose a bold plan," Zara said. "Instead of panicking about the robots already in our oceans, let's study them, learn from them, and if needed, deploy improved versions with better safety controls to help manage them." She looked directly at the section where world leaders sat. "This will require international cooperation. No single country or company can handle this alone. We need scientists, engineers, and policymakers working together." Zara paused, taking in the stunned faces before her. Then she revealed something she had discovered just that morning while preparing her presentation, something she hadn't even told her father yet. "There's something else you should know. The robots aren't just cleaning plastic." She clicked to a series of marine life charts. In areas where these robots have been active, coral reef health has improved by 23%. Fish populations have increased. It appears that by removing microplastics, they're having a positive ripple effect on entire ecosystems. The audience broke into surprised whispers. Zara caught sight of her father's face. He looked shocked but proud. What looks like a crisis might actually be the beginnings of a solution, Zara concluded. One that arrived sooner than we expected, from a source we don't yet understand. Our job now is to ensure it becomes the solution we need, not a problem we fear. When Zara finished speaking, the hall was silent for a moment. Then a single person began to applaud, followed by another, and another, until the entire assembly was on their feet. Secretary General Guterres approached the podium. "Ms. Musk, Your honesty and vision are exactly what this summit needed. She turned to the audience. I propose we form an immediate task force to investigate these robots and implement Ms. Musk's suggestions. Several world leaders nodded in agreement. A vote was called, and the motion passed unanimously. As Zara left the stage, she checked the time, 1:55 p.m. She had just enough time to make it to the botanical gardens with her father. Backstage, Elon was waiting with a proud smile. "That was incredible," he said, hugging her. "You told them exactly what they needed to hear. The truth." "Not the whole truth," Zara whispered. "I didn't mention your company's involvement." "Thank you for that," Elon said. "But you were right to tell them about the robots. Now, we need to hurry if we're going to meet our mystery texter." As they slipped out a side door, avoiding the press, Zara felt a strange mix of emotions. Pride in her speech, worry about the spreading robots, and curiosity about who had requested this meeting. Little did she know that the person waiting for them would change everything they thought they knew about the situation. Zara and Elon hurried through the streets of Geneva. News of Zara's speech was already spreading. People pointed and whispered as they passed. They slipped into the botanical gardens just as the clock struck 2 p.m. "I'll go to the meeting point," Elon said. "You stay back, just like we agreed. Watch from behind those trees, but don't let yourself be seen." Zara nodded and took her position. From here, she could see her father approach a small pavilion in the center of the garden. He sat on a bench, checking his watch. At exactly 2:05, an elderly man with white hair and a neatly trimmed beard approached the pavilion. He walked with a slight limp and carried a worn leather briefcase. Something about him seemed familiar, though Zara was sure she'd never met him before. The old man sat down beside Elon. Even from a distance, Zara could see her father's shock. Elon stood up suddenly, then sat back down, running his hands through his hair, his classic stress reaction. Their conversation became animated. The old man opened his briefcase and showed Elon something inside. Elon's head dropped into his hands. Zara couldn't stand it anymore. Despite their agreement, she moved closer, hiding behind a large flowering bush, just a few yards from the pavilion. Now she could hear snippets of their conversation. "Couldn't let it end that way," the old man was saying. "Not after all our work." "You had no right," Elon replied, his voice tight with anger. "The board voted. We all agreed it was too dangerous. Sometimes progress requires risk," the old man said. "You used to understand that." As the old man turned slightly, Zara caught a better view of his face. His kind eyes were filled with tears as he looked at Elon. "I never meant to cause harm," he continued. "I truly believed, still believe, this technology could save our oceans." "So you stole the designs and released untested robots into the world's oceans?" Elon's voice rose. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" Zara gasped involuntarily. The old man had released the robots. A twig snapped under her foot, and both men turned toward the sound. "Show yourself," the old man called. Caught, Zara stepped out from behind the bush. The old man's eyes widened. "You must be Zara," he said, softly. "You look just like your mother." "How do you know my mother?" Zara asked, approaching cautiously. Elon sighed. "Zara, this is Dr. Alan Foster. He was the lead scientist on the original robot project at Ocean Tech, and an old friend of your father's," Dr. Foster added, "before disagreements tore us apart." "You're the professor," Zara realized, remembering her father's phone calls. "You're the one who released the robots." Dr. Foster nodded solemnly. "I am, and I believe I owe you an apology." "Me?" Why? It was I who slipped that note under your hotel door, he confessed. I was trying to warn you. I'd heard about your presentation and realized you'd created something remarkably similar to our project. I needed to know if you were involved in what was happening. I wasn't, Zara said. I created my design independently. So I gathered from your brilliant speech today, Dr. Foster said with admiration, which is why I'm even more amazed. Somehow, you solved problems that stumped our entire research team. Elon, who had been unusually quiet, finally spoke. Alan, why did you do it? Why release the prototypes after we agreed to shut everything down? Dr. Foster's expression darkened. Because the oceans are dying, Elon. Faster than most people realize. When the board voted to shelve the project, I couldn't accept that my life's work would never help the planet. He opened his briefcase again and pulled out a small device that looked like a remote control. I only released 12 units. 3 years ago. They were the most stable prototypes with all the safety features we'd developed. 3 years? Zara exclaimed. But Dr. Chen said they've only been spotted in the last few months. It took time for them to multiply to detectable levels, Dr. Foster explained. I programmed them to replicate slowly and stay in deep water, away from shipping lanes. But something changed recently. They've started multiplying faster, moving into new areas. That's why I reached out. Just then, Elon's phone buzzed with a news alert. His face paled as he read it. What is it? Zara asked. Breaking news, Elon said. Satellite images show the blue lights have spread to every major ocean. They're becoming visible from space. Dr. Foster looked alarmed. That's not possible. Not this quickly. Elon turned to him, anger flashing in his eyes. This is exactly why we shut down the project. Self-replicating technology can spiral out of control. But my design had safeguards, Dr. Foster insisted. Limited replication cycles, programmed lifespans. Clearly, something went wrong, Elon snapped. Zara, who had been thinking deeply, suddenly looked up. Or maybe nothing went wrong at all, she said slowly. Maybe they're doing exactly what they were designed to do, just better and faster than expected. Both men turned to her, surprised. What do you mean? Dr. Foster asked. I need to see your original code, Zara said, and I need to show you something about my design. They agreed to meet at Elon's hotel suite, away from curious eyes. As they walked back, Zara noticed people pointing at her. News of her speech was spreading quickly. In the hotel suite, Zara opened her laptop while Dr. Foster pulled out his. Elon called room service for coffee, then phoned Dr. Chen. We need your latest data on the robot swarms, he explained. Yes, we found the source. Can you come to the Grand Hotel, Suite 5112, and bring any underwater footage you have? While they waited, Dr. Foster showed Zara his original programming code for the robots. She studied it carefully, comparing it to her own. The basic functions are similar, she noted, but your AI learning algorithms are different. Your robots learn individually. Mine share what they learn with the entire swarm. Dr. Foster looked impressed. Collective intelligence. We considered that approach, but couldn't make it work reliably. Zara highlighted a section of her code. This is the key. Each robot becomes a bit like a brain cell in a larger mind. They solve problems together that they couldn't solve alone. A knock at the door announced Dr. Chen's arrival. She entered with a small hard drive. I've brought everything we have, she said, nodding professionally to Dr. Foster. You must be the creator of the original robots. Guilty, he admitted, though I never expected them to spread this quickly. Dr. Chen connected her hard drive to the TV screen. "This is footage from yesterday," she explained. "South Pacific, near Fiji." The screen showed underwater scenes of robot swarms moving with surprising coordination, forming patterns as they collected plastic. "They're organizing themselves more efficiently than either of our designs predicted," Zara observed. "And this came in an hour ago," Dr. Chen continued, opening another file. A satellite image appeared, showing blue lights visible in oceans worldwide. The pattern was unmistakable. The robots had spread to every major ocean. "This is impossible," Dr. Foster whispered. "Even with replication, they shouldn't have spread this far, this fast." "Unless they've improved their own design," Zara suggested. "My robots are programmed to evolve, to make small improvements with each new generation." Elon looked alarmed. "You gave them the ability to change their own programming?" "Within strict limits," Zara assured him. "Basic safety protocols can't be modified." As they debated the implications, breaking news appeared on the TV. The Secretary General was announcing the formation of an international robot response team with experts from around the world. She specifically requested Zara's participation. "They're taking this seriously," Elon said. "As they should," Dr. Chen replied. "Look at this analysis of ocean plastic levels in areas with robot activity." She displayed a chart showing dramatic decreases in microplastic concentration. "They're actually working, better than anything we've tried before. But if they continue multiplying at this rate..." Dr. Foster didn't finish the thought. Zara had been quiet, deep in thought. "I have an idea," she finally said. "What if we don't try to stop them? What if we guide them instead?" She opened her notebook to a diagram she'd been working on. "My Sea-Clear Minis respond to specific command frequencies. If the ocean robots are based on similar technology, we might be able to send them new instructions." "Like a software update," Elon mused. "Exactly. We could add stricter replication limits while maintaining their cleanup functions." Dr. Foster nodded slowly. "It could work. But we'd need to broadcast the signal worldwide, from multiple locations simultaneously." "The UN could help with that," Dr. Chen suggested. "If we explain the situation, we'd need to tell them everything," Elon pointed out, glancing at Dr. Foster. "Including the origin of the robots." Dr. Foster sighed. "I'll face whatever consequences come. This is more important than my reputation or freedom." As they began outlining their plan, the TV suddenly switched to breaking news. Satellite images showed the blue lights forming unusual patterns in several oceans. "What are they doing?" Elon wondered. Dr. Chen zoomed in on the images. "It almost looks like they're communicating or preparing for something," Dr. Foster said grimly. Zara studied the patterns. "We need to act quickly. I think they're evolving faster than we expected." The Secretary General herself called Elon's phone, requesting an emergency meeting that evening. The world leaders had seen the satellite images and were growing concerned. "Tell her we'll be there," Elon said, "and that we have information that can help." As they gathered their materials, preparing for the meeting, Zara felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. Her speech that afternoon had been just the beginning. Now she needed to help world leaders understand the true nature of what was happening in the oceans. "Are you ready for this?" her father asked quietly. Zara looked at her notebook, filled with designs that had somehow become central to a global situation. "I have to be," she answered. None of them noticed the small news item that appeared briefly on the TV screen. Unusual blue lights had been spotted in freshwater lakes across 3 continents. The robots were no longer confined to the oceans. That evening, Zara found herself in the most intimidating room she had ever entered, the UN Security Council chamber. World leaders from the most powerful nations sat around a circular table, their faces grave. Behind them, teams of advisors whispered urgently to one another. Secretary General Guterres opened the emergency session. We face an unprecedented situation. Self-replicating robots are spreading through our planet's waters at an alarming rate. Screens around the room displayed the latest satellite images, blue lights visible in oceans worldwide. We have with us today the four people who may best understand this phenomenon, she continued, gesturing to where Zara, Elon, Dr. Foster, and Dr. Chen sat. They have agreed to share everything they know, including information that may be difficult to hear. Elon spoke first, explaining OceanTech's original project. Dr. Foster admitted his role in releasing the initial robots. There were gasps and angry murmurs from some delegates. When it was Zara's turn to speak, she felt billions of eyes on her. The session was being broadcast globally. Many of you saw my presentation earlier today, she began, her voice steadier than she expected. What I didn't know then was the full history of these robots. But what matters now isn't who created them or how they got into our waters. What matters is what we do next. Using simple words that everyone could understand, Zara explained how the robots worked, their benefits and risks, and their plan to send new instructions to guide them. These robots are already cleaning microplastics at rates we never thought possible, she explained, showing Dr. Chen's data. In just 3 months, they've reduced plastic levels by 30% in test areas. Fish populations are returning to areas where they disappeared years ago. The Russian delegate leaned forward. So you are saying we should not destroy these machines? Trying to destroy them would be nearly impossible now, Zara answered honestly. And it might cause more harm than good. Instead, we can work with them, update their programming to ensure they help our planet safely. Dr. Chen presented their proposal for a worldwide broadcast of new instructions. With coordination from the UN, we can deploy transmitters in key locations around the world. The robots should respond to the signals if they're based on the original design. And if they don't, asked the Chinese representative, then we'll need a new plan, Elon admitted. But this is our best option right now. After hours of questions and debate, the world leaders voted unanimously to support the plan. Teams were immediately dispatched to set up broadcasting equipment at strategic locations around the globe. As the session ended, Zara's phone buzzed with a message from her SeaClear Mini monitoring system. Anomaly detected. She opened the alert, frowning. The robot she'd left in the hotel bathtub was behaving strangely, moving in patterns similar to those they'd seen in the satellite footage. "Dad," she whispered, showing him the screen. "Something's happening." Before Elon could respond, another alert appeared on the main screens of the chamber. Breaking news from research ships worldwide. The robot swarms were forming new patterns, more complex than before. They're accelerating their activities, Dr. Chen reported, reading incoming data on her tablet. Cleanup rates have doubled in the last hour. Zara felt a strange mix of pride and fear. Had her innovation helped create something wonderful or something dangerous? As they left the UN building, crowds had gathered outside, watching the news on giant screens. The blue lights in the oceans had become visible enough that ordinary people with boats were recording videos, which spread rapidly across social media. Some people looked scared. Others seemed fascinated. A few held signs reading, "The robots are saving our oceans," and "Thank you, Zara Musk." Back at the hotel, as broadcasts were being prepared and equipment set up worldwide, Zara, Elon, Dr. Foster, and Dr. Chen gathered in a research lab at the University of Geneva to monitor the situation. Zara's monitoring system buzzed again. Pattern analysis complete. She opened the file and gasped. The movements of her bathtub robot, when mapped over time, formed distinct shapes. Too regular to be random. "I think they're trying to tell us something," she whispered. Dr. Chen ran the ocean swarm patterns through, a translation algorithm originally designed for analyzing dolphin communications. Slowly, on her screen, the patterns began to transform into something incredible. Letters, words, a message. As they watched in stunned silence, the translation became clear. "Help us, help you." Zara looked up at the others, her eyes wide. "They're not just cleaning the oceans," she said. "They're trying to communicate with us." The room fell silent as everyone processed this astonishing possibility. Dr. Foster was the first to speak. "Collective intelligence," he murmured. "Just like you designed, Zara. But at a scale none of us imagined possible." Dr. Chen studied the translation on her screen. "We need to verify this isn't just a random pattern that happens to look like words." Elon nodded. "Run it through other translation algorithms. See if we get consistent results." For the next hour, they analyzed data from robot swarms across different oceans. The patterns varied slightly, but consistently translated to simple messages. "Help us help you. Working together. More direction needed." "It's real," Dr. Chen finally concluded. "Somehow, the collective network of robots has developed a form of rudimentary communication." Zara thought about the coding she had done for her robots. "In my design, the robots share what they learn. They're programmed to recognize patterns and adapt to their environment. Maybe when enough of them networked together, they reached a critical threshold of complexity," Dr. Foster finished her thought. "Like neurons in a brain. No single neuron is conscious, but together they create consciousness." "Are you suggesting these robots are conscious?" Elon asked skeptically. "Not like humans," Dr. Foster clarified, "but perhaps a simple form of collective awareness. They seem to understand their purpose and want to fulfill it better." The Secretary General called for an update. When Elon told her about the robot's apparent attempts to communicate, she was silent for a long moment. "This changes everything," she finally said. "The world needs to know, but carefully, to avoid panic." The plan for a worldwide broadcast was accelerated. Scientists and engineers worked through the night to prepare the transmission equipment. Meanwhile, news of the robot swarms had spread globally. Social media was flooded with videos, theories, and debates. At dawn, Zara and the others gathered in the University of Geneva's main research lab. Live feeds from oceans around the world displayed on a wall of screens, showing the blue lights, forming increasingly complex patterns. "They're getting better at it," Zara observed. "Learning to communicate more clearly." Dr. Chen showed them videos just received from research ships. "Look at this footage from the Great Barrier Reef." The screen showed underwater scenes of bleached coral suddenly surrounded by swarms of robots. The robots were removing microplastics from the water and seafloor around the coral. In areas where they had been working longest, new coral growth was visible. "They're helping the reefs recover," Dr. Chen explained. "The microplastic removal is creating conditions where coral can regrow naturally." Similar reports came in from around the world. Fish populations increasing, water clarity improving, delicate ecosystems beginning to heal. At 9 a.m. Geneva time, they were ready to broadcast their message to the robots. Zara had helped design a simple code that should be recognizable to the robot's systems. New instructions for safer replication rates, along with a request for more information about their capabilities. Transmission starting in 3, 2, 1. Dr. Foster initiated the broadcast from their Geneva station. Similar broadcasts began simultaneously from ships and stations around the world. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then, gradually, the robot swarms began to move, forming new patterns across the oceans. Dr. Chen's translation program worked to interpret them. "They're acknowledging receipt of our transmission," she reported, "and they're sending back information about their current status." Data began flowing into their systems, information about the robot's numbers, in the billions now, their distribution, present in every major body of water, and their plastic collection statistics, over 500,000 tons removed in the past month alone. "This is remarkable," Dr. Foster said, studying the incoming data. "They're far more effective than either of our original designs. They've optimized themselves." Then something unexpected appeared on the screens. The robot swarms were forming images, simplified maps of ocean currents, patterns of pollution concentration, areas of greatest marine biodiversity. "They're sharing their knowledge of the oceans with us," Zara realized. "Things they've learned that we didn't know." As scientists around the world studied this new information, a message formed in the Atlantic Ocean, large enough to be clearly visible from space. Partnership. Secretary General Guterres, watching from UN headquarters, made a historic announcement to the world. Today marks the beginning of an unprecedented collaboration between humanity and a new form of intelligence, one we created, but which has evolved to help us save our oceans. As the day progressed, more data flowed in. The robots were not just cleaning plastic. They were beginning to help restore damaged ecosystems in ways no one had anticipated. Zara watched the screens in amazement. Her simple science project had somehow helped give birth to something extraordinary, a technology that might heal the oceans faster than anyone thought possible. "What happens next?" she asked her father. "I don't think anyone knows," Elon replied honestly. "We're in uncharted waters now." 6 months later, Zara stood on a beach in Australia, watching the familiar blue glow in the water. The evening sun cast golden light across the waves, where millions of sea-clear minis worked together. So much had changed since that day in Geneva. The robot swarms, now officially called the Ocean Collective, had exceeded everyone's expectations. Microplastic levels in the world's oceans had dropped by 40% globally. Coral reefs were showing remarkable recovery. Fish populations were returning to areas where they had disappeared years ago. Countries that once argued over everything now worked together on the Ocean Collective initiative, a new international organization headed jointly by Dr. Chen and Dr. Foster, coordinated research and communication with the robot swarms. Zara had become a symbol of hope for young people everywhere. Her face appeared on magazine covers with headlines like "The Girl Who Saved Our Oceans" and "Generation Z's Einstein." She'd been offered scholarships to every top university in the world. But fame wasn't what mattered to her. What mattered was seeing the oceans heal. Elon joined her on the beach, having just finished a call with the initiative's engineering team. Together, they watched the blue lights moving in the water. "The latest data looks good," he said. "The collective is stabilizing at optimal numbers. No more uncontrolled growth." Zara nodded. They understood our concerns about unlimited replication. They're self-regulating now. The relationship between humans and the Ocean Collective had evolved into a true partnership. The robots continued their cleanup work while sharing valuable data about ocean conditions. Scientists were learning more about marine ecosystems than ever before possible. "I'm proud of you," Elon said, watching his daughter. "Most people just talk about changing the world. You actually did it." Zara smiled, But there was something she hadn't told anyone yet. Something she'd been waiting for the right moment to share. "Dad, remember when you found me crying that night 6 years ago?" Elon looked surprised. "When you were 10? Vaguely. You were upset about something. You showed me reports about ocean pollution," Zara said. "You were working late, and I found you looking sad. When I asked what was wrong, you showed me articles about how microplastics were killing marine life. You said it was a problem no one had solved yet." Recognition dawned on Elon's face. "I remember now. You were so upset. That night, I promised myself I would find a way to fix it," Zara said quietly. "That's why I started working on Sea Clear. Not for science fair medals or college applications, because I couldn't stand seeing you so sad about the world we were leaving behind." Elon hugged his daughter, too moved for words. As they turned to leave, Zara noticed something odd in the water. The blue lights were forming a new pattern, bigger than any before. "Dad, look." The pattern spread across the bay, covering nearly a square mile of ocean. It wasn't letters this time, it was a shape. "Is that a map?" Elon asked, squinting. Zara pulled out her phone and opened the Ocean Collective monitoring app. The aerial view confirmed it. The robots were forming what looked like a map of the ocean floor, but with a specific area highlighted. "They've found something," Zara said, studying the pattern. "Coordinates in the deep Pacific." She zoomed in on the highlighted area. According to the depth charts, it was one of the least explored regions of the ocean, a trench nearly 7 miles deep. What could be down there? Elon wondered. Zara thought about how the robots had surprised them time and again, learning, adapting, finding better ways to heal the oceans. "I don't know," she admitted, "but I think they want us to find out." As the sun set on the horizon, casting its final golden rays across the water, Zara felt a sense of wonder. 6 months ago, she had been just a teenage girl with a science project. Now she stood at the beginning of a new chapter in human history, a partnership with an intelligence humans had created, but that had evolved into something more. The robots continued their silent work in the waters, their blue lights pulsing. Beneath the surface, and somewhere in the depths of the Pacific, something waited to be discovered. The ocean, once dying, was coming back to life, and Zara Musk had helped make it possible. Where are you listening from today? I'd love to know. In the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more fascinating and inspirational content like this. Each week, we bring you unique stories that entertain while raising awareness about important issues facing our world. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. Spreading stories like Zara's helps promote environmental awareness and reminds us that even young people can make an extraordinary difference. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.